And part of it was because I did not know any better. Because there was no one who was speaking truth about what this so-called celebrity lifestyle is about. So there's a lot of fakeness when it comes to the things on social media. And if you're limited with what you know, that means you make limited decisions, you make limited moves. But you see, there's a truth.
You have said something profound there. If you're limited in what you know,
you're
make it in your
That's
moves.
a good one for a treat.
Hey, yo, guys, evangelizing. We're evangelizing here. Well, look what you have done. You have found the Services Podcast right here where we sit at Pro Studios. But indeed, we have nothing but great conversations that make you smile and think at the same time. And we're giving this platform right here at Pro Studios. They're okay right here. You see it right here. Yes, indeed. They're at 3rd Gong Avenue at Upper Hill Gardens. Make sure you actually visit them out because they got what? They got an offer for you. You ladies out here, you know you reproduced recently. Yes, you got that baby inside of you. You got that life jiggling it all up inside of you. You want to commemorate this. You want to treasure this with a picture. They got that perfect moment. They want to snap that perfect moment with a touch of elegant class. Come on down to Pro Studios. They're right here in Upper Hill Gardens. Make sure you visit them. And someone who decided to come on down. Now this lady, you have seen her on your screens. This lady indeed, she has a very provocative name. Literally, the first name literally gets you people going. A lot of people, they come rushing to other places. They go... the one, the only Kush Tracey.
What an intro.
Yes.
I can just think about it.
Yes, exactly.
But it's okay.
And you haven't dropped it, but you maintained it.
Because it came from my parents. So I didn't just give myself the name. So it didn't come from me smoking weed, although I smoked a lot of weed.
Oh.
I even sold weed. I was a pedi.
Hey!
You never heard my chief Kush saying I did shash.
Hey. Are you for real?
Yeah.
You're that good.
But the name came from my parents when I was a kid. So even my grandparents used to call me that when my grandparent, before she passed on. And all my relatives called me Kush. So it's just a family name.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not from weed by the way.
That's why
I didn't drop it.
But Kush, K-U-S, what does it have meaning? What does it have a meaning on your family side? Why Kush itself? I just want to understand.
No, it's not even a name from the family. There used to be like a particular dangari when I was young. I used to like wearing it. It was yellow in color. Then it was written Kush Kush. So all my nicknames were Kush Kush, Kulunde, Kidaki Daki, Kushni, Kuludosh. So my dad gave me all of these names and my mom.
Kush.
But Kush stuck. So I think they chucked one Kush, so ikabaki to Kush. So I've grown up, everyone knows me as Kush.
That makes sense.
Even my mom, she has to load when you say ati, where is Teresia? Like she has she's like, anajua hiyo itangwa mama Kush, so bas.
Why are you good today?
Why am I good?
Today.
Why am I good today? Good in what way? That's a delicate question.
In a sense that, because most people say, how are you doing good? And I'm asking you now, why are you good today?
Why am I good today?
Yeah.
I think it's a blessing to be alive. It's a blessing for me to be in a space where I'm able to, just come out and even be here, be present, and just being willing to, like have conversations and be on a podcast. Because I was in a season where I was just like, you know what, I don't want to do any interviews. I don't want to like do one-on-ones with people. And I don't know, it's just interesting, me getting to be in this space where
you can talk. And
I feel like, it's okay. I can do this. I want to be in this space. Yeah.
Interesting, because even reaching to that point where you're actually able to now say, I am mentally comfortable to articulate myself out even in public, even with Bradley show that you guys have on NRG Radio, but in that same as plug. And the main thing is,
yes,
this is in itself a journey.
It is.
It is itself a journey, and it's a journey of even growth. What are you most proud of about your growth?
I'm just proud that I'm not the same girl that I was before. I'm proud of the maturity that I've gained and the wisdom that I've gained. I'm proud of my perspective of life. And I'm just proud of the changes and just the process. It's not easy. It's a journey. But I love it. It's worth it.
This interesting. You said it's a journey, and even that you said that you've even grown, even changed your perspective in life. When did your perspective start changing? That's what I want to know.
That's so interesting because I was still on TV. So I think the magic happened when I just started reading the Bible. That is what happened. Like, you see, for the longest time, like I've always had a Bible, but I've never opened the Bible, and I'm not done reading the whole Bible because I've really been stuck up on the New Testament. And when I started reading, I was like, I got to a place where I felt like there's more about me than what I was currently doing. I felt there was a bigger purpose. I was just not getting it. And as I was looking back and just, reflecting on what my life has been like, how I got into the music scene, I never wanted to become a musician. I never wanted to become famous. I never wanted to become known.
But do you regret it then?
I think I've gotten to a place where I've embraced it because I understand the bigger purpose and the God agenda attached to it.
Which is
there's just a kingdom agenda about my life. That's why I'm an evangelistic. I'm very evangelistic. By the way, I don't call myself like I'm an evangelist, but that's what I've been told I do by people who've experienced me on ground as I'm doing what I do. So they're like, you're an evangelist. That's what you do. You might not understand what you're doing now, but that is where God is calling you. So I don't know whether eventually I'll end up being a pastor or what, but I know I'm called into ministry, and the way I'm doing ministry is not the traditional way of how people do ministry.
You just a little Christian now. You're a little baby Christian. You're not. Are you grown?
No, I'll say
how
this.
Many years? No. How long has it been?
How many years? I think like 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 years. Okay.
Yeah. But I'd say like 1.5 years of being serious. Like, all right,
cool.
Yeah.
Evangelizing, meaning that you have to communicate now the gospel now to people. Correct,
it's not even about communicating the gospel. It's more of like my life has become the gospel that I preach. I'm not going to talk to you about, the Bible, blah, blah, blah. I'll use the Bible as reference because that is what I believe in. I believe in the word of God. And I attach my life to what the word says and how I've seen the word come alive in my life. So for me, I believe my testimony, my life story is the greatest ministry I can do. There are stories in the Bible I can't really talk about in depth because I don't relate or understand because I haven't been in that journey. So those are stories for other people to put out. But for me, I have the verses which speak to me, which relate to my story, and that's what I use. So I believe all of us, we are just ministers. It just depends with how we put out the message.
That means, could you say then that means you're actually happy of the past mistakes because they've now actually turned into your testimony? Would you say that?
I think the most interesting thing is how God brings everything we've done, the mistakes, the failures, our shortcomings, our struggles, our challenges, and he just uses it for his good and for just a bigger picture. But then again, a lot of times we are stuck in what we've done and the shame and the guilt that comes with it. And we are not really ready to look at it from a different angle. And I call it the God angle. There's always a God angle somewhere. It's just that a lot of times we miss it or we're too afraid of looking at it like that because at some point it will require you to sacrifice a lot of things. There are things which I desired for my life. There are things which I wanted to do, the ambitions which I had, but then again, they were not aligned to what God wants for my life. So there is my will and there is the will of God.
I get you on that sort of things. Because even you mentioned shame. All right?
Yeah.
What is something that you were shameful of in the past, but you're not shameful of right now?
I think the power comes when you own your story. And when someone tells you, usinatuambia nini na ulikuanga mlevi, I'm like, yes, I used to party and drink and I drank a lot. I used to, like, you see, when you try to use what I did against me, I've already owned my story. It's part of my testimony. So you can't shame me for what God has forgiven and for what God is using to free other people. It's a whole different thing.
How did you overcome the shame?
I think it took a lot of mental work. Hey, mtu wangu, you have to do a lot of work. You have to do a lot of work, and also talking yourself out of the old version of yourself, and also talking yourself into who God says you are. Because that is what we are afraid of. A lot of times we want to be in control of our story and our lives. And we don't really want to allow God to walk in or come into that space and tell you, yeah, you've done X, Y, Z, but listen, that's not who you are. You get, can you just give it to me? Let me show you how we can use it. So even embracing all the things which I've done, which I'm not proud of, giving them to God and asking God, how do you want to use this for your glory?
I get what
then
you
it
mean.
Becomes a testimony.
I get what you mean. Because when you're referencing God a lot of times, and other people would say it, even this modern age, people would say like, no, I am a version of God. So hence now, if I get a better understanding of me, I get a better understanding of what God's purpose is of me.
I think that's now, misguided. I don't trust in that.
Here's the thing. Because getting a better understanding of yourself now gets you a better understanding of quote unquote your purpose. So what do you think is what's the misguided part in that?
The idea of we are gods. We cannot be. But that's why I say, you see, when people use that word, I'm like a god. Remember, kuna God small g. There's the God of this world. There's Almighty God, Abba Father. And Abba Father, I can never compare myself to Abba Father in any way because he's a holy God. I'm very unholy in so many ways. I'm too imperfect. That's why I have to go to Jesus for me to be able to understand what perfection is. And a lot of times when people ask me the question, when did the change happen? What happened? I'm like, I cannot separate Jesus Christ from my story because without Jesus Christ, there's no this version of me. That's simple.
Are you seeking perfection?
I'm not seeking perfection because I cannot attain perfection. But I know there's grace that carries me through the ups and downs. Even when I fall short. And I'll always fall short. One way or another, none of us can be perfect. We can never get it right. That's why there's the grace of God that covers us and also gives us the strength to get back up and to continue pressing on.
Some people may say this, that in that dark time that you were in, and you are in that pursuit of now yourself, you're looking for it. Could you say that you found Christianity, you found God as a source of mental solace, so you could actually cope and be able to maneuver through life?
When we talk about, finding God as something
as a coping mechanism,
cope, in
there's some
life.
people,
And I know some people think that is what happens. That is not what happens. It's the thing is, for me, my coping mechanism was drinking, partying, being ratchet, being very promiscuous, smoking weed and cigarettes and a lot of shisha. And that was my coping. Partying was my coping mechanism. I was like on a roll.
I'm proud of you. That's good.
I was like, that is coping mechanism.
Yes.
When men go out there sleeping with, I don't know, they're sleeping with all sorts of women trying to prove a point. That is coping mechanism.
True.
When you find God is because you come to understand there's a lot of emptiness in your life that what you do in terms of your job cannot fill. The person that you love in terms of a relationship, if you're in a marriage or you're dating or you are a boyfriend or a girlfriend to someone, it's not enough, the love that you're getting from them. There's still emptiness in you. There's still a void in you. The love you get from your parents is still not enough. Yes, they love you, but there's still emptiness in you. The amount of money which you have does not make you have peace. So God is not a coping mechanism. God gives you an understanding of there's a bigger picture designing. If I lose my source of income, yes, ni may lose he, but there is God. God is not a coping mechanism because God is not going at you to just give you money. He's going to give you ideas on how you can make money. Then again, it might not be as much as how the world was giving you the money. Because his comes with conditions. A lot of people think when you come to God that, everything is, everything changes.
Everything becomes flowery.
Exactly. But then again, that's what I was saying. A lot of the things I was ambitious about, a lot of the dreams which I had, a lot of the proving point. Sometimes as people, we want to prove a point to other people. Kwama haters.
You thought,
I'm trying to prove a point over here.
Exactly.
But then you come to God, he tells you, sis, he's not about to prove points to anyone over here. You're not trying to prove anything. You're only doing what I'm telling you to do when I'm telling you to do it. And you need to be able to understand, you need to sacrifice your selfish desires to prove a point to people who are mad, who will die. And it doesn't matter.
I get you.
There is that.
Yes, here's the thing. You see, what you're mentioning requires you reaching a certain stage in your life. Because even when you were younger, and right now you're a little bit more probably matured. Compared
to my early 20s and my mid 20s, I think I'm kind of mature.
Exactly.
I'm a bit mature, but I'm still
How young
growing.
are you right now?
I'm like, how young?
Yeah.
Oh, next year we're on the third floor, yo.
Hey, that's just nice. That's good,
I'm
actually.
29. I'm
glad that you're actually even proud of your age, but
I am, because I'm like, I never understand why people like hiding their age. Because number one, I find like there's a lot of things you're not proud of at the age you are. That's why you don't want to say how old you are. Then because, again, there's a validation you're looking from people for them not to know your real age, because maybe they might judge you a particular way. Because I've had people like, umezeka. There are actually people who think I'm like 35 and something. And even when I was in my early 20s, there are people who are telling me niache kudanganya niko 24 kwa sababu niko 30 something. So I'm like, why would I lie? I've never lied about my age. Every year I'm like, hey, kama niko 18, nikaenda 19, 20. I've never skipped a year kusema niko na miaka ngapi.
Why are you so bold? Why are you so... Why are you so confident, bold and confident about your age? Why have you been like that?
Because I feel like a lot of women have succumbed to the pressure of the older you are, the less your value is in terms of, relationship wise, having a family. And I'm like, what's the point? I've seen people who got married in their early 20s, people I was in school with, and they didn't even get married. Come we stay, because that has become a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
They come we stayed at
less
the early.
obligation.
Yeah, they have kids. And right now they're not with the people who they were with in their early 20s. I've seen people who got married, yes, in their 20s. By the time they're in their 30s, they're divorced. I've seen people getting married in their 30s. By the time they're in their 40s, they're divorced.
Yeah.
You see, like there is no age that should be put at this age unafai kuwa umeolewa. So when you're at that age walikuwa umeolewa na say wako divorced, wanafai kwenda wapi, wakae wapi, kona gani? Give them a corner where they can sit. Then explain to us what is the pressure of telling women that they need to be married at a particular age. It doesn't make any sense.
Are you feeling that pressure because you're speaking from fire, guy? No, I'm
not saying, it's because I get so mad because you see, people have tried to attach the idea of me coming to the faith as something of you got to a place now you wanted to get married. Niko like, bro, hata ningekuwa bado mshirati, ningeolewa nikiwa mshirati, because there are people who fit that lifestyle and they would have wifed me and it would have worked because it was that lifestyle. Me coming to faith is because I started understanding there's a lot of dysfunction in how I was living my life. There's a lot of dysfunction with the men I was entertaining then, and I was like, do I really want this dysfunction to be poured into my kids? Because you see, one of the things people don't like doing is facing themselves. And for me, I had to face myself and tell myself, Kush, you're messed up even right now if you have kids. Yes, you may provide for them, blah, 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 but what kind of a mom are you going to be? You're broken in so many ways. What was the one thing that was hard for you, especially when you're younger? Because now you see, because here's what the reason I was putting at the age as it was this. Different stages in your life. What happens is you have different perspectives in life because you're going through different experiences. And hence you have different responsibilities. And hence even when you get even lower, even closer, even to your 30s, usually there's a coming to earth moment. Usually even men have, even ladies have it sometimes. What happens is that now you get a better, and now you have to now look at yourself and say, I am in this scenario because of me and I do not want to be in this scenario. What do I need to do in order to make a change? So could you say that now, because of every change in every time that you have a different section in your lifestyle, you have a different phase. Hence now you reach the phase where you actually now need to look at yourself and say, let me wake up. I think that does make sense. And I think that is very applicable. But then again, I feel like a lot of times, a lot of things which I did then, number one, it could have been, part of it was because of ignorance. And part of it was because I did not know any better. Because there was no one who was speaking truth about what this so-called celebrity lifestyle is about. So there's a lot of fakeness when it comes to the things on social media. And if you're limited with what you know, that means you make limited decisions, you make limited moves. But you see, there's a truth. You have said something profound there. If you're limited in what you know, you're making it in your moves. That's a good one for a treat. Hey, yo, guys, evangelizing. We're evangelizing here. Pause for a second. I want to remind you guys real quickly as we evangelize here that indeed you yourself, yes, you got that life inside of you. You want to it's bellowing inside of you and it's growing. You want to commemorate this moment? Come on down to Pro Studios. They got your back and you commemorate this moment. They got you that baby bump shoot. They got an offer this September. Get it right now. Come and get it. Come and get it. Where you gonna come? Upper Hill Gardens. You can actually find them right here, or even just reach out the number. They're right here on your screen. Check them out and make sure you reach out so you can actually treasure that moment. Now, as we go back to evangelize, as she pats her head. I'm feeling it's getting hot in here. Yes, exactly. You are mentioning that when you you can make limited decisions. When you're limited with what you know, you make limited decisions. Because you only make decisions based on what you know. And then knowledge is not everything. Sometimes you have knowledge, but then you have knowledge of the wrong thing. Or the wrong way of doing something. There is that as well. So then it depends on the amount you go. It's not about what you know. It's what you know. Is it right, wrong? Is it true? Is it facts? Is it opinions? That is what matters. But now, right and wrong it varies. Now, right and wrong varies. Exactly. So I would not say right or wrong would be a good metric to actually measure what you. Now, here's the thing: when you were now that thirst and that need for knowledge now came to you because you wanted to see change. Correct. Yeah. So now, in that moment in time, what was where did you first seek knowledge? Where did you seek knowledge? That's what I wanted to know. I think, sometimes you grow up and you thrive in dysfunction and you get to a place where there is just no more dysfunction. Like there's just like no other level of dysfunction you can get to. It's like you get to the epitome of dysfunction and you're like, it's either I just start changing the location of where the dysfunction is happening, or I just, start changing the faces or the people who are involved in that dysfunction.
And it just continues.
But it's the same thing. You're just in the same cycle. So I think I got to a place and I was like, you know what? I sat myself down and I was like, number one, if you decide to get married today, what kind of a person are you marrying him to a shere? Then 10 years from now, is that what you want? Because you see, when you're out and doing and living this life, you see so many things. You're around so many people. And some people, yes, they're married. Some people, they're in relationships. And you see how in just a few years, you can just kanyagia useme, this is okay. And in the next 10 years, because that time if I'm in my early 20s, I'm out in clubs and I've always been around people who are older than me. So I'm with people who are in their 30s. And I was like, do I want to get into my 30s doing the things these people are doing in their 30s? Number one, I'm in my early 20s. If you're doing the same things in the clubs, then if I don't change my ways, that means in my 30s, I'll still be doing this with other 21-year-olds. And I'm like, you know what? Some people want to grow up. Some people don't want to grow up, and it's okay.
What action or step do you remember that you did, the first action that you took in the sense that to change the direction in which you were going? What was that action?
I just changed the content I was listening to. That time I did not really understand how the Holy Spirit operates. I did not have, I know, I've grown up Catholic, so I've gone through, I understand, the praying and blah, blah, blah and all of that. And
the standing up and down often.
Yeah, standing, kneeling, I don't know do what. Yes. But in all honesty, I was like, where are we standing, kneeling? Where are we praying to Mother Mary? Why? So I became curious about the small things that I've grown up around. And I was like, I need to start doing some seeking. Because I was like, at least I've had if you seek me, you will find me. And I was like, I think I need to start seeking. And then if you knock, the door will be open. So a lot of times we want to do the knocking, but in terms of we want to knock a door that has money on the other side. So that's how we apply the knocking. But then again, when it comes to your life, you need to start choosing your life and looking at your life as a currency. And you're like, if I'm knocking, what am I trying to get on the other end? If I'm seeking, because you cannot know a God who you do not seek, who you do not spend time with, who you do not... who you're not intentional about. You cannot know someone without being intentional about it. So I was like, okay, I know there's God. I know there's Jesus. So let me go to the basics. Who is Jesus, and who is God? Who is the Holy Spirit?
So you started searching for this information.
I just started searching for this information and I became very open-minded. I was like, I listen to different people. I wouldn't just take one person, because this is what I say. It's one thing because I know there's this whole brainwashing thing that happens sometimes. Unaingia kwa kanisa unabebewa akili, unaanza kuuza vitu zako, unateseka in the name of man of God, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, when you go shakahola, same thing, ati mkufe mapema unaenda kupatana na Yesu. I'm like, I've read the New Testament, hata sijamaliza Bible yote, but with what I know, I can never fast to kill myself to go and meet Jesus before everyone else. Because I know where I'm going if I do that. Because that's not of God. And that's why we are told a lot of people are perishing because of lack of knowledge. Why? We have the Bible. Why do you think it's so hard for people to actually read the word? But it's so easy for us to watch a whole series, a whole movie. Tunaweza kesho usiku mzima. Tukiwatch movie na tutalala.
It's simple.
Hadi kesho, it's so easy.
It's very simple.
But anytime you're told to even open a book that can actually change your life, all of a sudden usingizi, all of a sudden kitabu inakubo, we have so many excuses. We become so good at it. And I was like, this is interesting. You see, sometimes when you question the things which seem to be normal, you'll come to find out these things are not normal. This is not normal. Some patterns in your life, they're not normal. For me, the drinking was not normal, because it's like, how often
were you drinking? Daily?
Hey, mtu wangu, siku nilikuwa nalala ni Friday na Saturday, kulikuwa kumeshona nje. I used to go out Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
That sounds like an average campus life.
That was after nilitoka campus.
Oh, that sounds that's intense. I can see.
My partying was very intense. And that's why I was I was all in. If you're partying, you're partying. We leave the club the next day.
You're an all in kind of person.
Yeah, I'm an all in.
So that would mean that I can even see even right now you're all in when it comes to even the gospel, even how you speak about it.
Yeah.
Even you speak with so much passion about and everything. How do you know when to tone down your Christianity? I don't want to hear about God. I just want to talk to you. Maybe
I'm like, friends. I can do that, but then you need to understand that I don't need to lower down what I know in my truth to accommodate you. If you can't handle it, we don't need to have a conversation. Simple. And I don't say that out of ignorance. Understand this. Because sometimes there's the match, there's, we as people, we can decide to sit and tolerate a lot of nonsense, but I outgrew that season of having mediocre conversations. I'm like, I won't try to prove a point to you. That's why I say my message is not for everyone. My message is for those people who understand where they are. And they're like, we saw you in that same space. How did you get out? We want out.
Here's a question
My message is not for everyone.
Here's a question I have.
Yeah.
When you say your message is not for everyone, are you also saying that you also cannot communicate to everyone because you've not learned the art to communicate to those other people who are not willing to hear you?
No. I can't
because
communicate.
Now, when you communicate...
No, it's one thing for you to want to hear someone. Listen, let me tell you something. The truth is not pretty. The truth is not easy for people to just sit down and consume. There's going to be a lot of resistance.
Exactly.
And this is what I say. I will never sugarcoat what God has told me to say and how he's told me to say it. Just because I want people... You see, this is where we go wrong in terms of, how we water down our faith because we want people to feel good and we want people to feel accommodated. Yet the word of God doesn't do that. The word of God has conditions attached to it. The Lord says he's going to bless you, but he's not going to bless you in a way that is going to hurt someone else. God is not going to tell you, kill someone so that you can get that property. That is not of God. But then if you want me to tell you nice things that, make you feel good, then I'm only trying to impress you. But
So could you say then Christianity is not inclusive?
I think it's inclusive for those who want to be included. You need to understand this. When you come to God, you come the way you are, right?
Yes.
But then you don't remain the way you are. There are things when you start learning about God, let me not lie to you. Like for me, drinking was okay. And I was like, I can still become someone who kunywas, a glass here and there, blah, blah, blah. But then again, the level of my conviction, understanding I'm called to the people who are struggling with addiction. How do I start delivering people out of addiction? Yet me mwenyewe nikikaa chini bado niko a glass a day. Takes the worry away. I don't even know whether that's a line. I just need
that works now.
I think
that works. Hey, well done.
But do you get where I'm coming from?
I get what you mean.
If I'm to die tomorrow, me sugarcoating my message or trying to make the word of God fit into people's lives, you can't get transformation through the word by changing the word. You cannot change the word to fit into your life. It's for you to change your life to fit into the word of God.
That's where interpretation comes in.
Yeah.
Because some people may even say, even other places may say, like, for example, because, in a hyperly sexualized society right now.
We are.
Exactly.
We are.
But even when it comes to, let me even ask you this. When it comes to even now, you, even as a lady, at times you may define yourself towards even how even people may say, oh, you look good, even guys will compliment you about whatever, and because you hang out in the club, so of course guys will compliment you, even sexualize you. Were you in any way at one time defining yourself through your own sexual being, or even how your appearance is?
Yeah.
And how is your definition of yourself changed?
Yeah, and I think that is where sometimes we as women, that's where we've gone wrong, and that's where the enemy attacks our identity. Because you see, we get to a place where it's not about what I know, how I speak, the information which I have, it's about how I look physically. So the only thing we are trying to do is impress men by how we look physically. Then that
not
means
only men, even other ladies.
Yeah?
Not only men, even other ladies.
Even other
because
ladies.
you also get criticism on that side of things. By how you look.
By how, because, ladies have to sit down, have a conversation, guy and a choma and a car. But I'm like, it's opinions. Mango, tomatoes. But we've gotten to a place where we as women accepted to get our value by how people look at us, how we look, how sexy we are, how sexually appealing we look. And we started driving our identity from that. That's why when you go online, you find women, it's either nimeka bamba miangu nyuma, it's either I'm trying to show a lot of, I'm trying to look very sexual so that I can get likes, so that I can get people paying attention to me. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you looking sexy and all of that. But then again, if that is how you base the identity that you have, if for you it's just being sexy is just all it takes. There's a story I was reading about a particular model. I think she's from, is it UK? So the lady, she was beautiful, like top notch,
top model.
Yes, top models.
10 over 10.
10.
Finger looking
12 good. 12 over 10. She's beyond the 10. So that was the case. Gorgeous woman. She got married to a guy, and unfortunately she got into an accident, and then she got burnt. So 80% of her body got burnt. So a lot of people, started, scrutinizing, the husband and asking him, why are you still with her? She's not beautiful anymore, blah, blah, blah. That man said something powerful. I did not marry her because of how she looked. That was just a bonus. I married her because of her heart. That's why I cannot leave her. And that man stood by. But then again, we've had cases. Women you lose a lymphoma, you lose something happens, you lose your physical beauty. Then someone walks away. Why? Because you no longer look the way
Yeah.
I preferred. So you see, we've gotten to a place where we are trying so much to impress people who can walk out. When we lose that, then again, we're not assured we look like this forever. Then again, that's why we have people we want to stay young forever. We don't want to embrace age. We don't want to grow and, just become.
I get you. I get what you're saying. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Beauty is given the utmost level of even reverence, even of appreciation. There is actually yes, you are a beautiful woman. You're gonna get way more privileges than that girl who's not so good looking, but she has a lot in her brain. Just because of how you look, because your appearance in itself will enticing. So a lot more doors will innately open because society and social media has put in the sense that beauty is indeed one of the biggest privileges you can have, even as a woman.
But
so why not? Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Why not use it to your strength while you have it? So because different things will come as your strength even as you get older. I have nothing against you as a woman even portraying that. This is my strength. I'm showing that. As a man, even when you've acquired new wealth, this is my car. I'm showing my strength. And hence now I'm showing, this is now what I've been able, showing my muscle. We lead with what we think is strong at that moment in time. Different things will require, when now you're a 40-year-old woman and you're now still leading with now beauty, now people start looking at you in a certain way because now you should have actually built a different strength. So hence we're now able to say, indeed now you are indeed a strong, bold woman because indeed you've been able to build not only wisdom, but even family. You take pride in different things in different stages in your life. So can you really castigate the young girl for leading with beauty?
I'm going to say this. So what happens to the other girls who they don't qualify in that bracket of beauty? Then what happens to them? I care about them. I don't care about the 1% who think they're on top of the world. Because number one, listen, I can do makeup and I can do ile proper face beat. Mtu wangu ukiniona hivi unashanga kama bado ni mimi. Number one, beauty can be bought.
Yes.
Beauty can just be products. Beauty can be just good hair. Then what? It's all fake. At the end of the day, you have to remove it. You go back to the way you're looking. Beauty can be filtered. And it's so sad online. We have young women who are depressed because they think they're not beautiful. Yet online, people are using filters left, right, and center. So you see, that's why I say I'm not the cup of tea for everyone.
Filters? Do you use filters?
Occasionally.
Used to use filters, yeah.
But I don't like the filters. Zile zinafanya sura inaenda.
Yeah.
Na kama ukiangalia uko like, is this me? But I know sometimes when I get a proper face beat, I'm like, girl, you're looking good. But then again, I told myself this. There's a time I used to bleach my skin. So I got to a place and I was like, Kush Tracey, you've tried so many things in the name of beauty. It's because you're empty inside. It's emptiness. Everything we're doing outwardly, it's because we're trying to cover up something. The same way I say this, anyone who's trying to run away from something or go into something, it's only two things we're doing in this life. We are running towards something or running away from something. Or at some time, it's two. It's the two things at the same time. I'm running away from something I don't want to address. I'm running towards something else that I think it's going to satisfy me. But still, it comes with emptiness. Because you see, if I don't want to be in a place where I'm not at the 1% at when you're saying, hey, nyinyi muliumbwa mkaumbika. Me, I got scars, yo. You know, I'm not at sijui nakaa inaitangwa chupa ile inakaa sijui.
You got that, yeah.
Kwa sababu I feel like that is very limited. Because now you see, it's like we're trying to say, these other women, they need to start wearing, because there's a time I used to have some friends, and they are very petite girls. So hapa kwa Hagare haikuanga. So what happened, I didn't even know those things were existing until time ingine nikapata, she had gone to the wash, she was taking a shower then. I'm like, imengave easy the fake haga.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the things people
nowadays.
Okay. Yeah, they fake whatever they wear as bikers so that they can have
no way.
Yeah, they can have like nyuma inakaa imetengeneza kama tushanga. Then I was like, how many young girls do we see? Because I want you to understand where I'm coming from.
I get you.
How many young girls do we see out here wenye tu wako tu mahali wanaona dem amepita nchiki dem siaga yake na kafiti anaenda kununua products yeta juu dem ni kibaika fake amenunua amevalia. Yana dhani huyo dem aliumbwa hivyo, dem amevalia kitu fake. So what happens, this girl goes and start getting what? Injections.
Of course, yeah.
And kupaka hizi products online, kila mtu ukitaka kuongeza haga
BBLs are in Kenya, by the way.
Ukitaka kuwekewa sijui, ukitaka kuongeza size of people are wearing padded whatever to look like they have big bras. But then you see it's because of the limited information. So me, I'm not concerned about these people are doing this thing. Me, I'm concerned of those innocent girls who are succumbing to pressure. Yenye hata mimi nikiwa na mtoi, mtoto wangu atakuwa labda na hiyo shape ya sijui nini, anaweza kuwa na haga. So what happens? Since for me, I'm classifying beauty as how women look, it's hagare. Because we need to get to a place where beauty is what is in between here. everything else we can paka tuwekelee wig tufanye nini tutengeneze venye inafaa kutengenezeka. Also getting to a place where men stop looking at women as sexual objects. It's not about how a woman is just looking.
Okay, hold up. Let me give you a pushback on that. There is power in you looking at it. It's saying that even you're a sexual being.
Yeah.
There is power in that, and even you accepting that. Even you don't always have to now look at it in the sense that, oh, I'm only looked at even as a sexual being. You can also even use that for even your own even betterment. You don't always necessarily even have to even say, oh no, you objectify me and everything. No, you are in essence. You are in essence good. It's a sexual being.
Yeah.
That in itself can actually be. Now the action in itself.
It's a good thing. It's like even Esther in the Bible. You know, she was a beautiful woman.
You get so
it's how you use the beauty which has been bestowed to you. But then again, we have a problem, and this is something that is happening. We are having girls, they're smart girls, but the problem, they don't even know how to put out or speak their mind or their ideas without having to feel like they need to be very sexual for them to be accepted by the people they're trying to get attention from. There is that, and that's the problem. So I'm not against people being beautiful. Actually,
how do you solve that problem?
Thing.
How do you solve that? How did you get to a point where you unlearned some of these things that you had now said that these things qualify me? Because you were saying that you went through the process of even finding yourself through now the Bible and everything. Could you say at this moment in time, through this now relearning process of like learning, how have you reached a point where you can't understand yourself, or it's still a process?
I think it's still a process. I wouldn't say like it's, I'm very young in this journey, but then again, I'm not as an infant the way I was in my earlier years. I'm not, because I've taken time and invested my time in gaining knowledge, reading books, listening to different perspectives from people across the world. Thank God for social media and, just having online and Wi-Fi and internet and all of that.
Yeah.
So I've invested a lot of time to grow my mind, to change my mind to a place that, in all honesty, if today I want to wear sweats and all of that, I'm good. I'm not worried about what anyone thinks. Getting to a place of gaining back and taking back my identity. That is not based on your opinion about me. You unaweza nikiwa na makeup ninakaa mrembo. I've met people who've told me by the way, in my natural form nikiwa nimepiga jacks to show in a day. And I'm like, girl, you're gorgeous. So you see, there are also different types of men. And that is something also women need to start embracing. Sometimes we might be chasing a particular caliber of men, thinking that is what is good for us. But then again, that is what is damaging us. Because anything that is making you change so that you can get validated or accepted by someone, so that you don't face rejection from those people, those are not your people. But then again, we're too stuck up in dysfunction. We want the things which hurt us. We want the things which are destroying us. We want the things which are making us feel lazima nifanye hivi nibadilishe hivi ndio huyu mtu afeel anaweza kaa. But anyone who's meant for you the way you are, as natural as you are, without that bam wewe ukiwa na unafeel ni kama uko na shortcoming huku kwa areas zenye watu wamepatiwa unajua endorsement, the way you are, the right people for you will love you the way you are, and they'll see you so beautiful. They won't feel like you need to add anything, reduce anything, remove something. It's too much pressure that is meaningless, in all honesty.
But having that mindset, don't be too stubborn to change when now change is now needed.
No, change is important.
Yes, change
but
is
I'm just saying
important,
this. There's so many women, I get a lot of women who text me, DM me. There's a woman, a particular lady who DM'd me. She told me, Kush Tracey, I noticed you stopped bleaching, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yep, yes. That's not news, You have
nice caramel skin, by the way. You have nice caramel skin.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. And I was like, do you know, nilikuanga muyelo na kuambia, hata mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa na shangaa.
See, I remember. I saw you. I remember, yes.
And you see, it's because I thought I needed to be a light skin in the industry. And yes, people are like, hey, now you're more beautiful. I got those comments. So for me, getting to a place of understanding, baby girl, me with my caramel skin or dark skin, depending on what you're calling it, I'm as gorgeous as they come. I'm a dime. So your opinion of me, whether I'm too dark, too light, too I don't know what, niko na kitambi ni yangu janibebea, sindio? So acha pressure. So me getting to a place of, it's like taking back my power. So your opinions don't have to affect me, because the right people, they are for me the way I am.
I get you.
There is that.
That's true.
But no, wait, let me finish this story. So this lady DMs me. The lady DMs me. She's like, you know what? I started bleaching before I met my husband. So when the husband met her, she was a light skin. So the husband thought the Chile was born light skin. Sindio.
Can you tell the elbows and stuff?
Mimi unajua sasa kuna vitu mingi unatumianga saa ingine unaweza mtu hata hizi jua. There's a lot. So it depends with what you're using. And that Kachile, she was like, she feels so empty because she had to change herself to be accepted by a man who she's not sure if she goes back to original skin tone will still remain the husband or she's going to get a divorce. So you can imagine such a situation. You got someone by being fake. Now you want to become real because unajua hata nisikakudanganye.
Of course.
All this nonsense you can do. By the time you get to 40, 50, Mungu akikupatia maisha marefu, you'll get tired and realize you wasted so many years trying to impress people, trying to live per the standards society and culture has set. And you wasted your years for nothing. It was all meaningless.
It was in vain.
That's the sad thing. So this Kachile, she texts me na like, now I don't know what to do. What did you start using? Mimi nikamwambia very simple, mtu wangu cocoa butter, shea butter, coconut oil. Niliamka nikatupa kila kitu, nikanunua hizo oil, nikamix, nikasema mimi natural skin tukisonga. I never looked back. And at some point I was having people like, hey, you're becoming dark. And it was getting to me. At some point I was like, Ama, I should just add a little bit of, something. Kunifanya bado nibaki nikom light, but not as light. I considered it. But then I was like, Kush, who's really talking to you? Yes, the devil will use people to speak to you because it will come in terms of opinions. No, stay bado a bit, still be, why am I trying to change how God created me? Then I was like, in case you may get married to someone who's a dark skin, you have kids, then what happens? You'll bleach your kids because you want them to be light skins. You see how the dysfunction works. The dysfunction starts from where you're coming from, your experiences, how you've been brought up. The dysfunction pours into you. Your dysfunction unaongeza dysfunction in your life imekuonyesha. You add on to it. You don't check on it or you don't work on it. What happens? You pour it into your kids. Then for them wanapata yenye. Sasa inakuwa ilitoka kule enzi. They don't even understand what is the problem. And I say this, every family has someone who's going to deliver them out of the nonsense of their generation. But then again, it takes a lot of courage because let me not lie to you. Change is hard. Change is hard. Truth is hard. Even you sitting yourself down, calling yourself out of the old mindset and how you're, structured your thought pattern and what you believed in. For me, getting to this place, mtu wangu ilibidi nimejiongelesha.
What was that one harsh truth that hit you and you're like, guys? What was that harsh truth? Was it the skin tone? That part was one of them changing the.
No, it was so many things. Mtongo. Sasa ukiangalia skin tone.
Yeah, so you mentioned the drink. You mentioned the drinking.
Being promiscuous. Mtongo ni gani utaweka huko juu? Hata skin bleaching unaiweka iko kama namba 10.
But now you see,
I was thriving in dysfunction. Let me not lie to you. I was thriving in dysfunction.
Oh, so you can actually thrive in dysfunction.
You can thrive in dysfunction and brokenness, man. It becomes just part of you, and that's just who you are, and that's what we say. We get to a place where we've accepted the nonsense in our lives to a point in tunasema, it's just me. I'm just like this. I'm just like. But the reality, if you sit yourself down and ask yourself, why do I do things the way I do them? Why do I believe like this? You'll come to realize you're carrying a lot of things from your early years, which you had no idea you are carrying.
Something I want you to answer, even as we wrap up. One thing I want to know is this. Right now, as you are, you Kush Tracey at this moment in time, next year, you're going to clock in 30 and everything.
I'm getting to I'm just glad I don't have the same mindset. So let me tell you something.
Tell me that something.
It wasn't a plan. It wasn't a plan. But I think the older I get, the more knowledge I acquire, the more mature I become as a Christian as well. I'm embracing the fact that I see who I was. I've seen how God has brought me to where I am right now. And then again, I've had the vision of where God is trying to take me. But then again, it depends with how obedient am I going to be. Am I willing to do the work? Because listen, you have to pass through the fire.
I get you.
The fire.
The
storm.
It was sharp.
You just need to confirm Jesus is there.
Okay,
even sleeping. Yeah. But he's on the boat.
But now we
are storming.
So you're happy. Look at you, all excited. But I see the joy in you, and I'm happy to see this. But the question I'm going to ask you is right now, even as you're in this journey of development, what are you struggling with right now that you're actually now making sure that indeed that you go through the process of actually now bettering, through the process of actually now getting better in doing right now?
I think I'd say discernment. I've always been a very empathetic person. And sometimes my no is not really no and my yes is not really yes. Because I have this thing of, for the longest time, like, you see my experience as a Christian is shorter as compared to my experience of life as just a normal person. And I got to a place where, for me, I'd put others before me. And I came to realize sometimes if you want to change, you have to think about you and put you first. That meant I had to cut off some friendships because we are no longer heading towards the same direction. And if I have to kill me so that for you to bloom and for you to feel okay being around me, then you're not for me. There are too many people in this world. I'll get new friends on the way. And just getting to that place of understanding, if I want to change, that means even my friends, my circles, my spaces, my associations have to change. And also understanding what I carry is not for everyone, and not everyone who's around me can be able to accommodate and to help grow, to help, just pour some manure and some fertilizer
so
into
discernment
water.
comes into place. That's you have to find out who is actually
exactly. There has to be a lot of
to
discernment of how you pick your friends, because when you understand where you're going, then again, even how you pick your life partner becomes very crucial. I just can't get married to anyone. It's not that I don't have people who want to marry me. Na nakwanga na offers left, right, center. Nani unajua bado unajua sina mtoi, so unajua academic kako tu nikangeo.
Yes, of course.
Academic kwa propose niko like yes, not yet. I'll get married someday. But then again, it takes discernment with the understanding of who I am right now. Because you see, if I had gotten married earlier, I would have gotten married to someone who fit into the lifestyle which I had. But you see, with how my mindset has changed, what for me is a priority might not be a priority for the people I was associating with then. So meaning, even how I pick my life partner now,
it's different.
It's very different. Because the qualities I'm looking for, they're very different.
True.
There is that. So I think I'd say discernment.
How do you become a better person to actually discern people? Like, are you using a criteria in the sense that, what criteria are you using, like in the sense now to get better at realizing that this individual, indeed, they aren't who they say they are, or this individual is not even now streamlined to the purpose that I have in my life?
I think everything is just a matter of time. Give it time. Then again, if I feel like I have to fake it for me to accommodate you, then you're not for me. If I need to water down my mind and how I speak for me to accommodate you, if I can't be authentic
dumbing it down,
you, if you need to be a dummy. Have you not had people like kuna wase like wamefikiria place yenye I need to be a dummy in this relationship for this relationship to work? Because otherwise, if you start speaking truth and be like, no, this is dysfunctional, that relationship inaisha. And I'm like, if you're in such a relationship, and tell someone, please, kanyaga kubo kubo wende. If you are not, unajua, if you're still like ati tuko dating, tuko bado ijakuwa serious. If you can walk away from it, because I won't lie to you, you're going to get married and then you'll have to tolerate this person. And hakuna kitu mbaya kama you're with someone who you have to be a dummy for that relationship to stick.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm like, you see, that is thriving in dysfunction. Because now if I need to play foolish and to play stupid for us to be together, really, is it worth it?
It's not.
It's not. None of us is guaranteed to be here for 100 years or 50. Some of us, we don't even know whether we'll get to, we live that long. No one knows how long they're here. So I feel like sometimes we kill ourselves for other people to bloom.
One key question I want to ask. This is the final question I want to answer this, because right now people are saying that you're evangelizing. What is that one message that you are so fervent, even like you feel like it needs to be, it's resonating so much, even people need to hear, and people, but I mean even ladies, young ladies.
Yeah.
What do you think that they need to actually hear, and that you think that you are that voice to now send that message? What is that?
I think mine is simple. Me, I speak hope. I speak restoration. That's what I speak. I speak transformation. It's possible to change. It's possible for you to change your mind. You can wake up tomorrow and decide, I'm done doing this way. I'm going to figure out a different way of doing what I need to be doing. Me, my message is of hope. I'm like, you know what? I've been so dysfunctional that people, you get, like I've thrived in dysfunction and just seeing how God's mercy and grace has brought me out of it on this other end. My message is of hope. I'm not here to condemn anyone, but that is why I say the truth is not for everyone. Not everyone and where they at in this season of their life. Some people will not be able to handle this truth. But the fact that I spoke truth without sugarcoating it, in a few years, that person might look back and be like, that thing made sense. Now I see it. Because sometimes we are only blinded because our eyes have been shut to the reality of things. And you see a lot of times, when we look at things, like we're looking at this is water. And I'm like,
half empty or half full?
It depends with what you're seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You're seeing water. Yeah. But before that, what only oxygen, Cindy? Like we are seeing water. Yeah. What is water made up of?
H2O.
But we're not seeing those things. We're not seeing hydrogen. We're not seeing.
Yeah.
We're not seeing those. We're seeing water.
Yeah.
So sometimes the dysfunction. Sometimes we are like water. We're just water. We don't see what has made us become water. But then again, without the oxygen, there's no water. So sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what exactly Where exactly did it go wrong? What exactly went wrong? When exactly did it go wrong? And just figure out, where did the dysfunction begin? Because I feel like all of us, even in dysfunction, we always know there's something bigger, there's something better. We just don't know how to get to it. And we are afraid of getting to it. And we are afraid of getting into unfamiliar spaces, unfamiliar territories. We are afraid of the change because we don't know what to expect. So we'd rather stay in the dysfunction. Why? Because we already know how it works. I know how to thrive in dysfunction. There is that.
Thriving in dysfunction.
I know.
That is something that a lot of you guys are doing well. Even as we wrap up this edition, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, by the way. And you should actually even take note. But comment underneath. What is it that you've been thriving in that dysfunction of yours, by the way? I want to actually even know.
I don't know why that has just been in my spirit this whole
But that's important.
So it's very interesting that it's still coming out.
You have something in between those years. I'm impressed. That's good. I'm actually, I'm intrigued. Yeah. I'll even personally even tell you this. I have actually even seen, even from that first moment even I met you, I can genuinely even say this is a totally different individual right here. And actually even I'm impressed even about your growth. Even
it's the mind. I had changed the mind, and everything else was going to follow.
Yeah.
You can't just, sometimes, we rush to, I don't want to tell people this. Have compassion on yourself and on the journey and the process. And as much as you're trying to, get to a particular place, you'll still fall short sometimes, do the same things, go back to the same spaces, still go back and thrive in the dysfunction which you're trying to get out of, but have compassion on yourself. And for me, that was also a struggle, learning to pick myself back up and do it again and try again and start again. And just get into that place of understanding I'm not perfect. I'm very imperfect. I'll still fall short. Sometimes I'll say things which maybe in a few years I'll be like, oh, I did not know better. Because there's what I know right now. But then again, there's a lot of information I'm yet to know. There's a lot of knowledge I'm yet to acquire. So there are things I might say today. In a few years, I might have a different perspective or a different way of how I'm going to say it. But then again, that gives me room to fall. That gives me room to make mistakes. That gives me room to learn and to grow. And I feel like we need to get to a place where we allow each other, like it's okay. Even if you do something wrong, I'll be like, no, it's okay. But you see, I will not come and tell you, no, it's okay. Endelea kufanya tu hivyo. Vumilia tu, ikipona rudi tena ufanye the same thing. I'll come and tell you, you know what? It's okay, umeanguka, sawa. But sheki, tunaenda pale. So don't lose focus of where we are going. That's where we are going. But here is where we are. So ni sawa, tutadili. But I won't come and tell you, endelea basi kaa hapa hivi, sababu nikaa kwenda huko utashinda ukiumia. It's like me telling you, tukae tu hapa. Kwa sababu kwenda hivi ni kama iko na vitu mingi hapa katikati kwa njia. So it's like I'm telling you, you just stay there. So you see what I speak from a place of, it might hurt some people. Some people might take it as an offense of what I'm saying. Yeah. Because truth is hard to... But you need to
lubricate the truth.
Exactly.
Lubricate the truth. But
you see this, if I die tomorrow, let me not die lubricating the truth of what I was told to say. There is that. Because everyone has a covenant with the God they serve. And I say the God they serve kwa sababu nilikam ku understand. Watu wengi wanasemanga God, but we are not very clear of which God exactly we are serving. Kuna small g na kuna miungu ni mingi sana kwa hii dunia.
I get you, yeah, there are many gods.
So for me, I had a covenant with God. I won't sugarcoat what he tells me to say. I'll say it how he says I say it. I will not try to make people like me at the expense of the word. I will not. And even when I fall short, I'll say, by the way, hapo hivyo hata mimi niko nje ya neno. I'll never sugarcoat my sin so that I can feel good about it. Because I came to realize, the more you do that, the more you continue staying in dysfunction. The more you continue staying the same. You'll never change. But if you want to change, you need to be able to endure that fire. You need to endure. Yani ilo ushisikia unakasirika unajikasirikia.
Yeah, I get you.
Mpaka inabidi unajitoa kwa mkasiriko ndio uendelee. You have to get to that space. If you want change, it doesn't come easy.
Yeah.
Change doesn't come easy. Nothing change comes easy. You need to fight for change.
And I get you. And you, my dear, you have flaming words. This podcast but seriously, she has a lot of words. Make sure you follow her, Kush Tracey, even on all social. But then even you're posting lately on even in your YouTube. I've seen that.
I'm trying to get back into that. No, and I'm saying like there's so many things I need to learn.
Yeah.
Like I've been on and off, like even doing the YouTube thing. Because then again, also trying to get my footing and understand. Because I've told you this walk is like 1.5 years.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So God is still pruning me and giving me the right words to say. That's why I was even telling you, I was staying away from doing interviews and all of that. Because I'm actively on ground, speaking to schools, schools, to students, and doing a lot of that. But then when it came to interviews, I felt like I was not in a season where I was mentally ready or able to have those conversations. Then again, I needed to understand, to allow God to tell me this is what your message is. You get, because sometimes we try to rush to do things without really hearing what God is telling us you're supposed to be doing. Because for me, in all honesty, I thought maybe ningekuwa msanii, but you see, from msanii God akanirusha kwa TV kama mchezo. From nowhere kwa TV, right now I go and speak in front of people, and people used to insult me, telling me I can't speak English. Siwezi ongea na ongea.
But now you can.
Sasa nikienda kuongea kuna watu wanasema you're speaking too fast. Slow down, unaongea kama mtu wa America.
So
many times people have come to ask me. I've come to ask me. But then you see, all of us, we have a gift.
Yes, we do.
And with the gift we have, it's either the devil is going to use it for his kingdom, or God is going to use it. Because every gift comes from God. The only thing the devil does is going to pervert.
And a gift needs to be sharpened.
And confuse you.
It needs to be sharpened. Exactly.
So also just being aware, God has given me a gift, and the way He came to bring it out. If I never got into the music industry, I would have never gotten into media. I would have never been on social media, because I would have just been a person. I wanted to become an engineer. So ningekuwa na a very quiet life, meaning there will not be this version of me speaking to people. It would have never been there. But you see how God changes everything around. It's like, before I was born, He knew me. He knitted me in my mother's womb. He already predestined what I was going to do. But then again, He's given me the free will to choose.
You speak with so much on this, with so much fire and with so much passion about it. I know there's a lot more that even that you have to offer. And here's the thing, because even I like that, and that's important. And even for you, if you actually want to even see this fire as it starts even bellowing and actually now starts heating up, make sure you follow her. But even with all this fire, was this fire recorded? This fire was recorded right here at Bro Studios. You can actually even come on down to Bro Studios and make sure you get your perfect bum shoot, because they actually got you this month of September. You out there, you got a baby inside of you, you're nesting a life inside of you. Like the way Kush is actually nesting that fire inside of her. Make sure you come on down to Pro Studios, Upper Hill Gardens. Make sure you check them out, or give them a call right here, right now. Make sure you do that. I'm Simon Says. Remember, we actually have conversations that make you smile and think, just like Kush Tracey over here. Her fire has not ended. She still wants to talk more, but nyamaza, we end up. Next video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. I swear, I've been trying to cut you off.